Hey guys, it's Evan, and it's I think November 5th, 2024, and my litter of Guyana true retail boas, I had 15 of them. They're a little over 3 weeks old. I think they're 3 weeks and 3 days. And so at this point, the first week I had them all together and that they had shed, and then once they shed, I separated them out into individual tubs. And the second, when they were 2 weeks old, I made my first attempt at feeding them, and I picked up 4 that time, and then the frozen thawed small mice. And this time I just made my second attempt at feeding them, and I picked up 2 different ones. So at this point, 6 of the 15 have fed on the second feeding attempt on frozen thawed mice. And so basically, one thing I would tell you is that it takes some time to get them started, and there's kind of like a bell curve of when they start feeding. So at this point, I think I've picked up like the early bell curve of the feeders, and then I expect in the next 3 weeks to pick up the majority of them feeding on frozen thawed, and then maybe at the end there will be some outliers that might have to get a live stimulus or something like that. But if you wanted to pitch live rodents at these guys, it'd probably be pretty darn easy to get them going. But I try to start with frozen thawed. It's just a lot more convenient for me, big picture, spend a little more time doing it than to run around and get them. And so I try to do that for at least until they're like, I'll do it at least probably two more attempts on frozen thawed before I try to go out into live. But I want to make a point of one of the biggest impediments to getting these guys feeding. They're kind of calming down now, but let's see if I can volume up. I don't know if you can hear, but they're all hissing. And so the biggest impediment to getting these guys to feed is their defensiveness, but that's also an asset in a way because you can kind of tease feed them. But I think sometimes the hardest part about getting them started on frozen thawed is that you can't provide that active movement and that warmth motion without being present to startle them. So I think that's the biggest thing that's the impediment to getting them feeding. And that's, I think, the biggest reason why live work is they have a really good strong scent profile. They put all the live motion stimulus in it, and it removes you from the equation. So they take the defensive aspect out of it. But I'll just tell you that frozen thaw is pretty reliable if you're willing to put the time into it. The other thing over here, I don't know if you can see, but I'm feeding the mother. The reason I have all the lights off is because I was trying to make it very not startling. This is going to be a terrible production value video, but the other point I make to you is when you're feeding the mother, in the first month or two after she gives birth, what I've noticed is they have phenomenal ability to assimilate food. And so they're like 3 weeks old at this point, and at this point I've fed her 3 small rabbits, like the size of like a jumbo rat, like 3/4 to a pound. I fed her 3 small rabbits, and I just am feeding her a large rat right now. And their ability to assimilate that food in the first couple of months is phenomenal. And I just try to feed them like every 7 to 10 days. Nothing huge, but something like decent size that they can fly through quickly. And it just gives you a little goose head start on getting their condition back. So I've noticed there's this little proximal zone of development with the females where you can get them on board quite a bit of food and have a couple extra food cycles in a month or two right after their birth. So I do that, and then after this is probably the last time I'll feed her weekly, something big, and then I'm going to go back down to every like 2 or 3 weeks, and hold that through the winter, and then just feed her normally from there, heavier in the summer, because you could probably feed her and get the weight back on her, but weight does not equal condition. And so I try to get this little advantage of their high metabolism time, but then after that, I just kind of go back to my normal feeding. So that's just what I tell you I'm doing in terms of feeding these guys right now. Right or wrong, that's how it's worked out well for me in the past. Take care. Bye-bye.